Hi everyone, and welcome to the FPL Mat Day Game Week 4 live deadline stream. 24 hours to go until deadline. Can't wait for Game Week 4. Myself, FPL Mat Day tonight. I'm joined by at D10 Football. Just before we get into it, if you can just give the video a like, give us a follow and a subscribe, and get all of your questions in the Q&A, and we'll do our best to answer them during this podcast. Got at D10 Football here. For those that don't know, Daniel is he's a football superstar. Loves his razzle. Loves his players with the step overs and the flair. So he's going to be chatting about his favourite FPL assets tonight. Daniel, how are you, mate? And how's your FPL season going so far?
Matt, I'm very good. Thank you for having me on as well. It's my first time on the FPL Matt Day. This is all the live show, I suppose. We don't do the live shows, I suppose streams are live, but yeah, the watch-alongs and so forth. But yeah, thank you very much for having me on here first time. My FPL season so far, 3 weeks, three above average, two free transfers, no wild card used yet. There's been a lot of wild card. I can't believe how early people have used the wild card. Obviously, people who follow yourself and also other friends of ours like Quinton would know that you guys have both used your wildcards already, which I found very, very surprising. Is the one thing that I wanted to try and steer away from because of my experience last season. So yeah, I've kind of got all the what do they call them, the arrows still in my quill, and I have two free transfers. Some bad news, mate. Just before we're hopping on, Wilson out till September 11 with the hamstring. I'm
Wow.
hoping I'm hoping that it's not going to be telling. I don't really like the striking option.
Well, so obviously you've got the Newcastle shirt on tonight. So
I have.
you're back in the black and white, but you've got a problem with the black and white because Callum Wilson's obviously picked up that knock. So what we'll do towards the end of the stream, we'll go through our transfers that we're thinking about doing, and for any watchers and viewers, if you can think of some Callum Wilson replacements in the meantime, then I'm sure Daniel will be very appreciative. And obviously you've got the black and white on now, Daniel. Just before we get into the fixtures, and I'll run through what we're going to do on the stream. You had a bit of good luck last week with the black and white, didn't you? Saint Maximum was in your side, I believe.
A lot of good luck. Trippier in my side, St. Max in my side, and Wilson in my side. So two goal
Unreal.
scorers. Yeah, it was. Look, I had the triple up from the start. I did like Newcastle at the start of last season. I made a joke previously that I've had St. Maximum in my side for 41 game weeks because I had him for the 38 of the previous season and the three of this one. So he's going to go. He's going on 42 game weeks. And obviously, I had Trippier in my team a little bit later in the previous season. Callum Wilson was never in my side, but I've had him in so far, and he was doing really, really well. Unfortunately, now injured. So yes, a little bit of luck with the Newcastle triple up. Some even bigger luck because I've had Trippier and Saint Max on my bench, and then
Unreal.
Taylor from Nottingham Forest didn't play, and neither did Mahrez. So obviously the King
Wow.
Razzler, yeah, he has to be in my team. This he's starting to look like Gavin Harris. Yeah, he's
From goal.
really he's on his last trial. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going into the manager's office and they're pleading to give him just another month's trial. So I don't think he's played 10 minutes in the Premier League. Oh man, I think he's had one full game, didn't he? He had one full game against Bournemouth, but he didn't.
Yeah, that's right.
Apparently, Quinton said he did everything, but in FPL he did nothing. So it was a bit of a shame. So
Wow.
yeah, I was lucky that those two didn't play. And on came Trippier and St. Maximin, and yeah, 58
Unreal.
points because I
So,
brought in Rodrigo as well. That was a big
wow.
move.
So you've
I
had the
nabbed,
double up of St. Maximum Rodrigo. So you've got yourself two double digit scores. This is
yeah,
the sort of stuff that goes down in FPL folklore. This is the sort of stuff you will remember, right? Doesn't matter about any of your ranks or wherever you finish at the end of the season. In 2 or 3 years' time, you can turn around and say to people, I had St. Maximum the day Newcastle drew to Man City,
it's
the
very true.
champions, Man City, obviously from last season, and he got
Yeah,
14 points. And I had Rodrigo against Chelsea, who got, what was it, 13, 14 points as well. So this sort
mm,
of stuff is, these are memories. So unbelievable stuff there from D10 Football. What we'll do now, we're going to move on to some fixtures for game week 4. So what we'll do is we're going to go through each fixture. Both going to pick a player that we like from either side. We're going to do a score prediction. So we can pick an FPL player for the game week that we like, that's impressed us. We're then going to go through some captains, a curveball captain, some differentials, some of our transfers, The weekly topic this week is whether or not to sell Trent Alexander-Arnold or not. So we'll both give a yes or no, and then we'll do a live Q&A. So if you are tuning in from anywhere, whether it's the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, get your questions in the live Q&A. I have got a couple from guests as well, which I will go through, that have sent them through to me on Instagram, but get your questions in. But what we'll do first is we will go through the fixtures. I'm just going to get the share screen up, and we'll get some fixtures. And these fixtures have currently been provided by FPL Amateurs of Oz. So that's Quinton Dunn from FPL Amateurs of Oz. So if you don't follow him, he's been on these streams a few times this season, then give him a follow. FPL Amateur of Oz now is his new tag. I'm going to get it up on the screen because he's changed it. It was FPL_Amateur_Oz. It's now FPL Amateur of Oz. So give him a follow. And this is D10's handle at D10 Football. So if you end up listening to this pod and you can't see on the visuals right now, give him a follow. It's D and then 10 and then Football. You're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok as well, Dan?
Yeah.
You're on all of them. So give him a follow. And yeah, check out his stuff. There's some incredible videos. He's done some really good collabs with some amazing players, some really well-recognized footballers. Some great skills, some stuff. It would just blow your mind. So what we'll do now is we'll go into the fixtures and we'll just say hello to Quinton Dunn. Look who it is, Captain Razzle Dazzle, sorry, which he means Dan. He means Dan. The Razzle Dazzle. So yeah, go check Dan out on the socials. But let's go through the first game. So we've got Southampton versus Man United, which is the early game. It's the first game on. Last week, Southampton got a really good away win against Leicester, 2-1. And Man United got an unbelievable win at home to Liverpool, which no one really expected. I'll throw this one to you first, Dan. I'll give you, if you want to name one player from this fixture, it can be from either side that you think is going to be good for game week 4. And then just give me a quick score prediction for this one.
I'll go with the score prediction first. I think I'm going to go 2-0 Manchester United. I think that the role has begun. I've been having this conversation not just with people on Twitter or on social media, but also with people that are in my football circles in my football community. And I said game week 1-2 that Manchester United were going to turn a corner, that at some point that things were going to start to come together, especially the way that Ten Hag likes to play football. What I saw, we had a lot of chat about preseason. I did with Quinton on his pod as well. What I saw in the preseason was very unlike Manchester United of the past 5 years. Really, it was very, very different football. Very Ajax, very Man City, very Cruyff, very possession based, which I love. Okay. I love that style of football. One player from this fixture, so we'll go 2-0 Manchester United. One player from this fixture. Everyone's talking about Rashford. A lot of people talking about, obviously, I think Martial as well has been thrown around in there. I think Rashford's probably the favourite pick, but I love Jadon Sancho.
Jadon Sancho.
I'm thinking of swapping. If I swap out Mahrez, it'll either be straight for Bernardo Silva, because I don't think Bernardo Silva is going to Barcelona anymore. He'll stay. Or it's going to be for Jadon Sancho. So I'm yet to decide. I'll probably just make the one transfer this week, and then I'll have another 2 next week. But 2-0 United and Jadon Sancho.
Big prediction. So Daniel's backing Man United to continue the bounce back of form, and you're backing the clean sheet as well, which I think is fair with Varane and Martinez putting in a good shift against Liverpool. And I do like the Jadon Sancho pick. Obviously, he scored that brilliant goal. Unbelievable. The skill, the close control was just brilliant. Unreal goal. I think he's about 7.5. He might have even dropped in price. So he's good value. So I think that's a really good pick. So clean sheet then for Man United. What's your thought process there?
The clean sheet for Man United. Bora TV, how you going? I know Southampton beat Leicester, but look, maybe this is the week that we see Ward-Prowse or one of those names, get 2 or 3 goals. It could also be 2-1. But yeah, I just think from seeing how they played against Liverpool and using that roll-on momentum of coming away with the win against Liverpool. I think it's the first in the league since 2018.
Okay.
Yeah, I just believe they're gonna, it's gonna be good for them, even though they're away from home.
I like it. All right. Well, we'll go on to my prediction now, and welcome Bora TV. Thanks for joining into the stream. And Quinton's just come in and said 7.3 for Sancho, so he has dropped by 0.2. So
That's
there
good.
could be a bargain on our hands there. Look, I will do a score prediction first of all. I'm going to go with 2-1 to Man United.
Okay.
I'll back the James Ward-Prowse free kick. I heard a
Yeah.
very good stat the other day about James Ward-Prowse, and he's got a 20% conversion rate. I think it was saying he basically scores one in every 5 free kicks, which is phenomenal. It's phenomenal.
That is unreal.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. So I'm gonna back him. Look, he's in my classic team, so that's probably a bit of the reason I want to back him. And I need it. I need it as well because he come in on my wild card. He got me points last week, so I'll back the Ward-Prowse goal. And then I think, the 2 goals for Man United. I think I agree with Dan. I think they'll follow it up with another win. They'll be in a bit of a groove, a bit of a momentum. But my pick is going to be different to Dan's. I'm going to go with the man he originally mentioned, Marcus Rashford. And the reason I'm going with Marcus Rashford, he's a value, so he's cheaper than Sancho. And what I like about him, I know Sancho's playing in a front three, as is Rashford, but I find Rashford takes up more central positions sometimes. Like the goal he scored where he ran through, and I feel like he's a striker that's basically classified as a midfielder, and I like that in FPL. And I've always liked those types of players, and he's cheaper. And I said this on one of the earlier deadline streams this season. What I like about Rashford is we've seen him score double figures before in the Premier League. Last year, he only scored 4 goals. There's no chance he gets 4 goals again this year. Like, he's scoring 10 plus goals. He's going to be on free kicks, and we know he can take a good free kick. We've seen it before. So for me, I think Rashford is the one because he's basically a striker classified as a midfielder, and he's cheaper. So I think he's the one. If you're looking at Man United, get him in. They've also got Leicester, which I will probably talk about more on the Game Week 5 stream, but they've got Leicester straight after, who Rashford's got a great record against. So that's my pick. I'm going to back 2-1. So I'm going to back Man United as well. Daniel's gone for Sancho, and I've gone for Rashford. So that's Southampton versus Man United. So let's move on to Brentford versus Everton. Just before we do, Bora TV, we're going to take Q&A at the end. So I'll bring your question up at the end, and then myself and Daniel will go through that. Let's go through to Brentford Everton then. Now I will start with this one, and I'll go with my score prediction. And I've actually been impressed with Brentford in the games they've played this season. I've got a couple of their players in my team. Everton I've not been too impressed with. Obviously, they haven't won yet. These are the types of games that they need points from. If they want to stay in the Premier League, these are the games they need to win. I'm still going to back a Brentford win. I'm going to go 1-0. I'm not liking Everton's attack. They're not really firing for me. I'm going to go 1-0 Brentford with a Tony goal. Tony's in my team at the moment. I need the Raya clean sheet, but I think it will be tight. I think it'll be 1-0. I think Brentford will keep this one tight, and Everton will struggle to score. So I'm going to back Tony as the FPL player for this week. So if you've got a spare striker spot, I think he could be quite good. He's hitting all 3 games so far, so he's on a good run of form. And sorry, Everton fans, I think 1-0 to Brentford. So that's my thoughts. Daniel, what are you thinking on this one? Who's your player? It can be from either team, and what's your score prediction?
Mine was going to be exactly the same, so we can move along with this real quickly, and more so for the point that Brentford, as you said, have been really, really good. They've had good results. Tony has been getting returns, so Tony would be the player that I picked from this fixture. And secondly, if Everton come and play like Pickford 9 men and then Anthony Gordon, I really don't see them scoring. So I think 1-0 is a good shout.
Okay. All right. Yeah. No, same as here. And who was your player that you wanted to pick from either side? Sorry.
Ivan Toney.
Oh, Ivan Toney as well. Okay. Interesting. And do you think maybe he's someone that you might replace Callum Wilson with?
Probably not.
No.
No.
I think he is the main pick, and I think a lot of us agree it could be a 1-0, but isn't the man for Dan. So all right, so 1-0. We both think the same. We've both picked the same player. Let's go on to Brighton Leeds. I'll give you this one, Dan, as well to start with. I know you're going to like this one because you've got a special name for Leeds United.
I have.
And there's obviously a reason and a thought process to it. So what's your score prediction and give me your one player, because I know there's about 3 or 4 players you like from this fixture from Leeds, but give us your one player and give us your score prediction.
Score prediction first.
Yeah, go for it.
I would say Leeds 2-0. I think we're going to see a very, very similar setup as we saw against Chelsea. We're going to see similar players: Aronson, Harrison, Rodrigo. Leeds just playing some unbelievable football. And the new name, the new nickname that I've got for them is the New Yorkshire Yankees, because obviously
sounds like a Pro Evo name.
Yeah, the New Yorkshire Yankees. Yeah. They'd be called New Yorkshire White.
Yeah, that's right. It's like the old Pro Evo names where you get like the man red and the man blue.
Yeah, exactly.
But obviously, because of the USA links now with Jesse March and all the USA players,
that's right.
You decided to sort of name them after the New York Yankees.
Yeah, that's right. I thought so because I think since Jesse March has come in, he's really reinvigorated the side, and we didn't really see that at the end of last season. But he must have had a very, very good preseason because so far, I think they're 2-1 draw Leeds. I think they're 2 wins,
they are.
Draw.
Yeah.
Rodrigo obviously doing most of the damage.
Big things.
Harrison and Aronson also getting in there on some of the returns. Harrison looks unbelievable out on the left wing.
He does, doesn't he? He does. Both footed as well. I find he's very good with either foot, can go either way. He's on set pieces as well. So, I think he looks brilliant.
One of your mates in Perth, Matt LFC, he called him Harrison Aldo, which I thought was big, really, because he plays very similar. Like he's like that 2004-5 model of Ronaldo. He's very quick winger, can dribble, can change direction, which is obviously exciting to watch. But I think 2-0, and the player I would go with from this one is Rodrigo. I'll just say also that game week, when was it? I think it was game week 2.
Mm-hmm.
I brought Rodrigo into my draft. No one had him. No one had
your
him.
FPL draft side, that was a brilliant pick.
I got maximum points. So I just had a look at Leeds. Like I don't watch all the games. I obviously love the eye test, but I just don't watch all the games because unfortunately, we don't have any lockdowns anymore. Those were the best times to watch all the games. And I'm busy with coaching and training, etc. But of the games that I watched, I managed to watch Leeds previous week. And something about him just, I thought, I was thinking about him for my classic when I was making it before game week 1. And then after what transpired game week 1, I was like, I'll just try and get him into my draft and then see how we go. And no one had him. So I think he's the highest point scorer in the league.
Everyone wants him now. Now he's hot stuff. Now everyone's wanting him. I think he's price rised again. And look, whilst Bamford's injured and had injury problems, why would you not, go for Rodrigo if you're looking at, someone that's on form and scoring goals? And you get this every season. There's always one player at the start of the season. Last year it was Ben Rama. The year before it was Calvert-Lewin. There's always someone that comes in. They start the season absolute fire. Look, they might die off at some point. They might not. You never know. But if you get them while they're hot, then you're in, for a lot of points, as we saw with Daniel when he's obviously had him in since game week 2 in his draft, and then he had him in. Was it since game week 3 in your classic? You just had him for this week?
Yeah, I only had him for this week in the classic because I didn't have the. Actually, I didn't make any transfers. I rolled the first week.
Okay, so it ended up being a really, really good pick. All right, well, I'll give my prediction now. I'm going to go with a 1-1. Brighton are very good at the back. I find them. They've got a good defence. Sanchez, good keeper. Lewis Dunk does well with Veltman. in that defence for Brighton. So I think it'll be a low-scoring affair. I think it'll actually be quite tight. Both teams play really good football. I like Graham Potter. I like Jesse Marsh. So I think it will be a good match to watch. But I think the scoring will stay at 1-1. I can't pick a winner on this one. In terms of a player, I'm going to go with the man that we just touched on for Leeds, Jack Harrison, who Daniel mentioned. One of my friends was calling him Harrison Aldo. We were also discussing, me and the same friend Matt were talking about him as, he reminds us of a like a late 90s, early 2000s winger, like a Damien Duff.
He's the Steve McManaman of the New
Steve McManaman. Yeah, it's very similar. And another thing about Jack Harrison that's really interesting is, and this is why he also fits really well in this Jesse Marsh team, is he actually had a lot of his education. Obviously, he started at Man United. I think it was Man United's academy in England, and then he had some education. It was either Man United or Man City, but then he had his education in America through their college system, and then he went into the Major League Soccer over there. So he knows the way a coach like Jesse Marsh wants to play and train, and the methods. And we've obviously seen at Leeds now. There's a bunch of American players that are coming in. They're obviously producing some really good talent at the moment. So for me, I'm going to go with 1-1, and Jack Harrison's going to be my pick. He's 6 million at the moment. Look, he could have risen during this time on the podcast with the way the price rises are going, so he possibly has. But I think for Jack Harrison, what I like is he's not just a goal threat. He's a set piece threat. And I think he's the safest pick if you're thinking long term, because I think he stays in that side. His position is nailed. He didn't have the best season last year, but he was still getting minutes. The year before, he was brilliant in FPL. He had some massive hauls. And I think we'll see the same sort of thing this year. So, for me, 1-1, and Jack Harrison is my pick. Also, for the viewers that are watching, if you can just give the video a like, get your comments and questions in. We'll just say hello to FPL Rubber Ducky, Quack. Welcome to the stream. FPL Rubber Ducky is notorious for his Twitter Spaces. So give him a follow on Twitter. FPL Rubber Ducky.
He's also He's captaining Trent this week. He said
he's captaining Trent. Well, that's one of the topics on the stream at the end, is should we sell Trent or not? So it sounds like Rubber Ducky might have solved that one for us. So big pick. I like that though. It's bold because there's a lot of sellers. I think 350,000 sellers for Trent. So to captain him is this could be a really good week to captain him, actually, based on that intel. So welcome to the stream, Ducky. Great to have you around. Let's go. Oh, now he's saying he didn't say it. Okay, so no, he didn't. Hold on.
I think he was asking the question. He was asking the question.
Okay. So he mustn't have said it. All right. Well, if you can get in the comments, Ducky, if you have Trent in your team and if you are going to sell or keep, it will be good to know as we move. We'll go on to Liverpool, Bournemouth in a sec. Let's go to Chelsea, Leicester. This is a really interesting one because Chelsea lost 3-0 last week to Leeds. They didn't look good. They're obviously a bit all over the place. Leicester haven't won a game either. I'll start with this one. I actually think Chelsea are going to win this. I watched the Chelsea Spurs game in game week 2, and Chelsea absolutely dominated that fixture. I think if they had, they've obviously sold Werner and Lukaku, and I think if they, had a bit more of a killer up front, someone that could really put the ball away, they would have beat us that day. But we held on and got the draw. I think if Chelsea play like that again at home in front of the Stamford Bridge crowd, I actually think they'll beat Leicester quite convincingly. I've said this a few times, and I think this week with Koulibaly suspended, I think we'll actually see Cucurella in the back three, Chilwell on the left wing back position, and Reece James back in the right wing back position. And when Chelsea played those two players there last season, this was in the reverse fixture at the King Power. Leicester lost 3-0. And Chilwell was unbelievable. He got a double-digit score. Yeah. Reece James was phenomenal. And I think we'll see the return of those two fullbacks. And when Chelsea play those two fullbacks, there isn't many better fullbacks in the league at their best other than Robertson and probably Trent from an FPL perspective. I actually think Chelsea will play them, and I think they'll get the job done. I actually think they'll beat this Leicester team. They'll bounce back. Leicester are a bit all over the place. They drew in the week in the Carabao Cup 0-0 and scraped through on pens, or did they lose on pens? If someone knows in the comments, or if you know, Dan, let us know, because I know there was a penalty shootout and James Maddison missed a penalty. But I think this one's going to be a Chelsea win. I'm going to go 3-0. I'm going to back Chilwell and Reece James to get the scores. I'm also going to back Raheem Sterling this week to get his first Chelsea goal. He got 2 goals against Leicester at home last season for Man City. Hasn't scored yet in the league for Chelsea, but I'm going to back him. 9.9 million. I think he's a decent differential pick this week. So I'm going to back Chelsea. I'm going to go 3-0, and I'm going to pick Ben Chilwell as my pick this week. So I think he gets back in the side, and I reckon he does what he did against Leicester last year. Obviously, he's a former Leicester player. But Daniel, what's your prediction, and who is your FPL player?
I think Chelsea's going to win as well. I think Leicester have been really average, considering what we expect from them normally from a Leicester side. We haven't really seen too much of Vardy, too much of Maddison, too much of Iheanacho, too much of...
Yeah, we've not seen Vardy. We've barely seen Vardy.
Even Tielemans. Is Tielemans still there?
Yeah, Tielemans. He's still there, but he's coming off the bench.
Yeah, like there's those usual players that are there getting those points, or either the assist or the third pass and making those returns. I don't know, we just haven't seen them, have we? Not so far anyway. It's only 3 game weeks, but I think this is the week that Chelsea do bounce back. Tuchel never really goes too many games without bouncing back. I think he's a pretty good manager, pretty good tactician. I agree with you on James and Chilwell. Should that back 3 be as you said? Because if he keeps James in the centre back, then I think it's going to be it'll be indifferent. I think James he's unbelievable back there because he's just so quick and he's so able with the ball.
And his delivery is unbelievable. His delivery is phenomenal.
Exactly. It's like playing with Beckenbauer, it's the reason why he plays sweeper, isn't it? Like, it's just a joke. It's a number 10 playing at the back. So I'm probably going to get ripped for that Beckenbauer-James comparison. But he is very good on the ball. He can dribble as well. So if you have a player in the back line with that kind of ability, it makes the game so much easier. I'm going to say James plays in the back 3, and I'll say it'll be 1-0.
1-0 Chelsea?
Yeah, 1-0 Chelsea. Sterling scores, and I'll say Sterling is the pick.
Okay, I like that, Dan. All right, I'm going to bring up a couple of comments. Also, if you're new to the channel and you're watching now, just come into the Q&A, get your questions in, get your comments in, and we will go through the questions at the end. We had a couple of more comments from FPL Rubber Ducky. He just mentioned back on the Leeds fixture. Just on Leeds, their fixtures do get tricky now with United, Brighton, and Spurs in the next 4 fixtures. It's a very good point, because obviously United, we mentioned earlier, they're looking to bounce back. Brighton are good, and obviously Conte's Spurs are a lot stronger this season. So that's a good point.
But I think with this, Rodrigo, Harrison, Aronson, Bamford, anyone else you speak about, no one's really bringing in defensive assets from Leeds. So I don't think it's something you have to worry about, because they can still score against United. They can still score against Spurs. They scored 3 against Chelsea, and everyone thought Chelsea were going to roll them.
Fair point.
So I think especially if you've only got 1 asset. I've only got Rodrigo. I'm not doubling up. There's no triple, and Rodrigo will probably become Harrison in the next few game weeks, depending upon how he goes. I think the planner predicted, he had an unpopular opinion that Rodrigo's points had finished in the game week 3. I found that very interesting because I think he's in the form of his life. But it's something that can happen also, like look at Harry Kane last season.
True.
The first 10, 12 games, he was like
couldn't hit a barn door.
Yeah, no one liked him. No one wanted him in the team. And that's that point that Rubber Ducky makes there, that Bamford and Rodrigo won't play in the same team, is exactly why I probably moved to Harrison. And for the same points that you gave, Matt, free kicks, set piece threat, he's locked into the first team. So that's probably when it would swap, is when Bamford does come back. Because when Rodrigo plays more central, and I mean, we saw him playing with Bielsa's setup. He was more of an 8 or a 10. He was very, very low, playing a low up the pitch, should I say. Like, he was playing in the middle of the pitch. He was never playing too high. He wasn't getting those into the box. rarely, So yeah, I think in terms of leads, I think if you have an attacking asset, it's not too much of a problem. I actually wanted to go back onto because it's going to lead into Liverpool and Bournemouth, but Ducky made a comment. Let me just see here
Let's have
where
a
it
look.
says,
Oh,
"I
there's
just
the
said
Chelsea one.
no, I just said he shouldn't be disregarded. He's staying in my team." Trent
With
Alexander-Arnold.
Trent.
I think that is spot on. So I've kept Trent Alexander-Arnold for the exact reason because this week I looked at the fixtures and I've been watching Liverpool, and straight away I thought I don't need a 7.5 defender, and then 200,000 odd people sold him, and I was like, no, I'm going to hold on to him because at the
You
end of
want
the
him?
day, number one is Liverpool, and number two is Trent Alexander-Arnold. So both
Yeah.
are proven entities, proven player and club, and we know that he can get the points. We know that he's on corners. Their idea is to swing the ball into the box from the right side. He's always there. So if there's going to be points or there's going to be assists, it's generally Trent Alexander-Arnold. So
Well, I think what we'll do then, we will move on to that Liverpool Bournemouth game. And I just before I do, I'm just going to bring up a couple more comments. Just last thing on the Chelsea game, Rubber Ducky, no goals in that Chelsea team. Cucurella and James the best assets. Could be still too soon for Chilwell. Rubber Ducky's a Chelsea fan, so
that's true.
he
That's
probably
true.
has that little bit more intel than us. So thanks for the update, Rubber Ducky. Quentin Dunn. If he keeps James at centre back, he doesn't want to win. I think that's a good point, and it's a fair point because, like we mentioned, Daniel mentioned, he's just unbelievable at right wing back. So why would you not play him there? PSB, I'm going to bring your comment up at the end in the live Q&A. So we've had quite a few questions that have come in, which I'll go through at the end. So stay tuned, and we'll bring them up. Welcome to the stream, Matt Cowling. And I've just seen here you've mentioned on wildcard. Stuck on Kevin in a 4.5 mid or Harlan Andreas. We'll bring that one up at the end as well. So I will go through that at the end. So Liverpool Bournemouth, you can start on this one, Dan. You've obviously spoke about Trent, and you did just say that you think he is someone to keep. So one of the topics tonight is keep or sell Trent. So we'll answer that. You obviously answered saying you think we should keep Trent. So my question is, what's your score prediction? You've said we should keep Trent. So who's your player pick for this one? Is it Trent Alexander-Arnold?
I'm going to go really bold, and I'm going to say that this is the game because I think last week was a little wake up. I'm going to go really bold, and I think this is the game where it's a 5-0, and Salah gets maybe a hat trick and an assist. So
Wow.
I'm going to captain Salah.
Wow.
I'm just going to go bold. It happened
Okay.
last season. Last
True.
season, this was I don't know if it was game week 4 or if it was 5 or 6, but that was the wake up. And if you didn't have Salah, and I think it was the same time people captained Havertz. If you didn't have Salah and you captained Havertz, you really lost out. You really lost out. So I think this is the game. I think this is the game.
Okay,
Because
so 5-0?
Yeah, I'll say 5-0. Yeah.
5-0. All right, interesting stuff. So Daniel thinks 5-0 to Liverpool. We think Salah is going to get a hat trick and maybe an assist as well. And he thinks we should keep Trent.
Keep
so
Trent.
that's Daniel's thoughts. Rubber Ducky isn't so sure on the Salah haul, but we will see on that one. I will go with I think the pick is Salah for this one. His record against newly promoted teams is ridiculous. Liverpool's record against newly promoted teams is ridiculous. That they haven't looked great this season, but I think they'll get over the line in this one. Bournemouth, they beat a below par Villa team in the first week, but when they played Man City game week 2, obviously Arsenal last week, they just look well out of their depth, and I think it could be the same sort of story this week. So I'm going to pick Salah. I'm going to pick Liverpool to bounce back, maybe with a 3-0. Salah with a couple of goals. I think Robbo and Trent will be involved. So I'll go with 3-0.
You are thinking along the same lines as me. But
I'm thinking on the same lines.
Way out with the 5-0.
I'm just thinking of 3. I don't think it'll be 5, but I do think this is obviously the Salah captain. Obviously, we'll go through captains later, but I think Salah's the main man. And then with the Trent stuff about keeping Trent, obviously tonight's topic is on the thumbnail as well. Is do we sell Trent? And I don't think you sell Trent. And I say this every season. There's always going to be a period of time with any premium asset because I guess for a defender he's premium. But I always classify Trent as a midfielder because 7.5 million, you're paying for him as a defender, but he's like a midfielder. So you're not really paying 7.5 million for a defender because he does more than just, he's more than a clean sheet. He's a goal, he's an assist. He's such a good player. I know he's not looking great. Liverpool aren't looking great, but you get this where, at the start of the season, a premium defender blanks for a couple of weeks. We all sell the double ups of Trent and Robbo, or whoever the defenders may be, and then all of a sudden they get a nice newly promoted team. Liverpool win the game, 3-0 or 5-0 with Daniel's prediction. They grabs an assist, get some bonus, and and we're all happy because we own him. And then the 350,000 people that sold him then are scrambling to try and bring him back with a -4 or a wild card. So I think if you own him, you keep him because it's Trent, it's Liverpool, it's Bournemouth at home, and then you're getting another home game in the week. You're getting Everton the week after, and then you're getting 3 home games in the next 4. So, and we know how good Liverpool are at Anfield. I know there's a Palace game that they did have 10 men, and I know they went 1 down, but I'm going to back Liverpool. I'm going to back them against a newly promoted team. So that's my thoughts on that one. Quinton Dunn has just come in response to you, Dan, and he said 100% D10. Salah has been in the trenches and he's about to give them a razzling. What's your thoughts?
Right? It's not just that. Okay, I believe Salah's about to give him a razzling, 100%. But he doesn't really razzle. He's more a spark, isn't he? He doesn't have elastic or quick.
Yeah.
But that's another thing. But in terms of like seeing reactive or impulsive sales buys in FPL. Look at the first week. Gabriel Jesus, right?
Yeah.
He actually played a really good game. Everyone got him out.
He did.
And then the following week, he goes and scores. I think he scored 2 and had 2 assists.
19 points.
Yeah,
I remember because I didn't have him.
Yeah. Well, but you had Haaland, so you took a gamble, right? It's not. You did not have Jesus by taking him out. You'd already made your choice beforehand, right? And the previous week, Haaland got 2 goals. So, it's much of a muchness, really. That's a different way of looking at it, I think.
So yeah, sorry, Dan. We'll
That's okay. Do you want to move on, dear?
I'll say we'll go to the Man City Palace game. I just want to quickly say because Ducky has asked you a question. How does one razzle?
How does one razzle?
Yeah, so I want to just quickly bring that one up, Dan, and if you want to quickly answer.
I think the best way to explain this is if they go into every game and they're showing you something like, for instance, Anthony Gordon, razzler. That's why Chelsea want him. Everyone's like, why is Chelsea trying to buy Anthony Gordon? Because he gets the ball and he'll always do like at least 2 step overs. Like he's someone who excites the game. Like I think FPL Mike, the Arsenal fan,
Mike Haplin, yeah.
Yes, he said they're Mavericks, which is true. They didn't have razzles back in those days, but George Best was a Maverick. The Maverick, through evolution, that's the timeline moving like that people can see there. Here we got like 1958 Mavericks, slowly moving through the 90s. Now we're in the 2000s, 2022. It's turned into a razzle. All right, it's a razzler.
So would you say they're flair players almost?
Yeah. Look, on Football Manager, you're looking for someone like 20 flair, 20 dribbling, 20 first touch. That's what it is. Okay. 20 technique as well. That's what you want. That's a razzler.
Well, there you go, Ducky. I hope that helps. And that actually lines us well for Man City versus Palace because I know Man City have got a lot of razzlers that Dan likes. So I will. I'll give you this one to start with, Dan. Let's give me your FPL player that you think we need from this fixture, and give me your score prediction. And also bear in mind, Man City lost his fixture. Was it last season and the season before?
Yeah,
they've lost it a couple of times. I remember the Townsend volley. I know this is a bit of a bogey game for them. So, yeah, what are your thoughts on this one?
This game last season was the emergence of Gallagher.
That's right, Conor Gallagher, yeah. Twinkle toes with his goal.
And I remember because I didn't have him and I was like, what is going on with City? Because I had Edison in goals and I was like, you're really expensive with that 6.0 at that time. So it was, that's when I was like, yeah, I need the wild card. Have the wild card, mate. This game, I think they've already had the slip against Newcastle.
Okay.
I feel like that Man City will do the job. They will keep the ball. Crystal Palace's, I think, strengths are in their attack and they won't really get to show that. I'm feeling because I think they're going to sit back as most teams do against City. City will have all the ball, and I think the player you want for this is not in my team, and I'm really hoping that I'm a week late, but it's
I know who
Bernardo.
it is. It's
It's
Bernardo.
Bernardo.
Oh wait, it's Bernardo Silva.
It's Bernardo Silva. I don't
Okay.
have him in my team. I honestly thought that he was going to Barcelona, and that somehow they was going to register him, and not in some other different way other than registering through FIFA. There was like a special Bernardo Silva registration. Um, but it looks like he's going to stay at City. Once
Okay.
the window closes, I'm bringing Bernardo Silva into my team. Everybody understands, or anyone who knows me, sorry, understands the story I have with Bernardo Silva from previous season. I thought Gundogan was going to be the Bernardo of this season, which he's kind of showing. But once Bernardo comes back, as we saw last week against Newcastle, because it wasn't a great game for City, and he popped up with an assist and a goal.
Yeah, he did. He got double-digit haul, didn't he? And I don't think anyone expected that.
Yeah,
And it was brilliant. And he looked good. He looked sharp. He was getting in all the right attacking positions, wasn't
yeah,
he?
yeah.
So
Mind you, he was playing on the I think it was the right wing of the top three with
okay.
Foden and Haaland.
Ireland, that's right.
Please don't ask me why Mahrez isn't playing. Mahrez in my team. Mahrez just making way for all the people who score points on my bench at the moment. That's what he's doing. So good bloke, but we need him playing because if he plays, I think he's going to do damage. He needs more than one game. Pep, please watch the pod.
So you want Mahrez in. And what's your score prediction on this one?
2-0 City.
2-0 City. So 2-0 City, and Dan's FPL player to watch is Bernardo Silva. Certainly a razzler. I'll go on to my player and scoreline. Also, for those that are now watching, if you can just give the video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and get yourself into the comments. Ask us questions. We're going to do a live Q&A at the end. We've had plenty of questions that have come in, so we want more. We're going through the fixtures right now. It's Man City Palace. I'm going to go with the scoreline first. I'm going to go 3-1. I actually think Palace are going to score. I can see the Eze Zaha combination again. So I can see Palace grabbing a goal in this one. I'll go 3-1. And I'm going to pick my player. I know I could say De Bruyne and I could say Haaland because they're obviously the obvious picks. I'm going to go Phil Foden this week. I think looks like his price has gone down. He's 7.7 mil. Looked good against Newcastle. He was getting in a lot of good positions. And the same the week before, he was getting in a lot of shooting positions. I think got 9 points against Bournemouth in the home game. And he likes his home games. So I'm going to go Phil Foden is my pick. I think he'll get back, stay in the lineup. 3-1. I think Palace will score. And Phil Foden is my pick. So that's
Also,
my thoughts on this one. Go on, Dan.
just on this, I think Foden's a great shout because Foden didn't play against Barcelona. Mahrez played against Barcelona. Haaland played against Barcelona. Why go and play Barcelona? Honestly, I understand it's for charity, it's for a good cause and stuff. I don't know why they went and played Barcelona last night.
It's strange. It's strange.
No, it's absolutely bananas to me. Anyway, maybe they were predicting a lockdown. Who knows?
All right, so we'll go to Arsenal. Arsenal Fulham. You got any further comments on the City Palace game, Dan?
No, all good.
No more. All right, we'll go to Arsenal Fulham. I'll start with this one. I think this game, I think Arsenal will win comfortably. Well, Fulham have been good this season. Mitrovic and Pereira have been giving teams a run around. It's the late kickoff in England. But I'll back Arsenal. I think they'll win 2-0. So I'll go with 2-0. I'll go with a clean sheet. And my player from this one, I think it's going to be the return of. I think it'll be the return of Bayu. Well, I've got his pronunciation wrong. I'm just going to say Saka. It's going to be the return of Saka. He's gone down in price, I think, to 7.9. I think this is Saka's game. Well, 4 games into the season, this will be. I think this will be the week for Saka, and 2-0 to Arsenal. So I think if you've got Saka, keep him. He's my player for this one. 2-0. Welcome to the stream, Damo. FPL West Ham. Good evening. Hope you're both having a great one. We've been discussing Razzlers and Frazzlers and everything tonight. So it's been a good stream. Daniel, what's your thoughts on this one?
Arsenal Fulham. I think Arsenal won. Fulham won. I'm going
1.
I
But
think
you're a big Mitrovic fan, right?
I am. I think this is a surprise. I'm also an Andres Pereira fan too.
The
I
haircut? Or...
I just that as well as I think this week I think he surprised us with some razzle. I think there's going to be
Okay.
some surprise razzle there. He's got the boots. He's got the haircut. He's getting in the positions. He has the confidence. He's already playing very, very well. I think the one for Arsenal is coming from Jesus, and the one from Fulham comes from a razzle from Pereira. He crosses it, and then Mitrovic jumps like as high as Wilt Chamberlain, and then slam dunks someone with a header. That's how I think it's going to be 1-1. The player you want from
Wow.
this player you want from this. It's not a differential. It's not anything. I think Jesus. If you don't
Jesus.
have Salah in your team, which a lot of people don't, for some unbelievable, amazing UFO spaceship kind of reason, you will want to captain Jesus.
Okay, good stuff. And I think very bold prediction with the 1-1. Obviously, given Arsenal's early season form. But yeah, good shout with Andreas and Mitrovic are obviously on form. They're causing teams problem every single week. Let's go on to the West Ham Villa game, which is perfect for FPL West Ham who's watching the stream. West Ham haven't scored a goal this season. But Aston Villa haven't looked great either.
They're winning though. Aston Villa's win. They've won
They
two,
won
right?
the first game. No, sorry, the second game. So the first game they lost to Bournemouth and didn't score.
Yeah.
And then
They
the
won
second game they
the
beat Everton, which probably doesn't say much right now. And then game week 3, they beat they lost, didn't they, last week to Palace? They lost 3-1 at Palace. So there's a bit of pressure on Gerrard. And he chops and changes his Villa team a lot. This is a tough game because once this game finishes for Villa, they've got a tough run. They got a lot of the bigger, stronger sides. They need to win this game, but West Ham need to win this game because they've not won a game and they've not scored a goal. In saying that, I think they will score this week. I'm going to go 1-1. I think West Ham will get the goal, but there's no confidence really in either side right now. I'll back Watkins for Villa to score, but I'm going to back my player from this one. I think this is the week West Ham score and Bowen gets his goal. I think it's the time for Jarrod Bowen now. He's gone down in price. I'll back him and Watkins, but I'm going to say Bowen's my pick and 1-1. Thoughts on this one, Daniel? Who's your player and what's your result?
I think this is, considering last time we watched Aston Villa, it was one of the worst games we've seen this season. Aston Villa versus Everton was a real, I'm not sure why Frank Lampard come with 15 people in the box to play against Aston Villa. It's just not
a
that
brick
kind of
wall,
game.
didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. Playing a keeper 9-1. But this game, it's a hard pick. I think 1-1, what you said is fair.
Mm-hmm.
I think Aston Villa get over the line.
Okay. 2-1?
Yeah, 2-1. And Danny Ings.
Danny Ings, so is he your man for the week?
He'll be the man for this game. Yeah.
It does have Danny Ings written on it. These are the sorts of games you can just imagine Danny Ings coming out with one of those unbelievable volleys that he likes to score.
Yeah, he'll score a scissor kick and then he'll go to the pub later. Just unreal.
Yeah, he loves it. And that's a good shout. Danny Ings obviously did have that good game in game week 2. And these are the sort of fixtures for your Danny Ings, your Watkins. So 2-1 to Aston Villa is Daniel's prediction. I've gone with the 1-1 and Jarrod Bowen. Let's go on to Wolves Newcastle. I'll give you this one first, Dan. I'll let you go first on this one. Score prediction and player. Who's your player on this one? This is an interesting one.
Wolves are in trouble.
Wolves are in trouble.
Yeah, I think this is a.
We got the black and white on tonight, so
we'll go 3-0 Newcastle.
Whoa. Wow,
3-0 Newcastle, and the man you want for this one, obviously I've got St. Maximin, I've got Trippier. I'm not going with those. It's Joelinton. You want Joelinton.
Big Joel.
Joelinton's
a man.
Playing very good. Not a Razzler. His first touch is about 3 meters in front of himself. But he's there and he's doing it, so we can't argue.
Okay, so you trust Joel? You think Joelinton's going to get in on the goals and the assists?
I think so. I think he's a big presence. Being his size is a massive advantage when you play teams just sit back. I think I've seen at Wolves. Wolves also
They do
going.
sit back. They do sit back, Wolves, don't they?
Yeah.
It's that Portuguese. It's like they have Villas Boas, the Mourinhos. It's just like watching Wolves reminds me of watching Spurs with Villas Boas, where we would win games 1-0 against Hull City, and it was like
Yeah.
painful to watch. And the goal would be from a pen, or and it was just. And this Wolves, and there were some good players in our side as well. And Wolves are very similar, where they've got some very good players, but and they do play some good football at times. But some of the games are just, I don't know. Like I was saying it the other day, and to a couple of Wolves fans, and I said, like, having a season ticket at Wolves, you just don't see many goals. It's just, I know a lot of Wolves fans aren't happy with Bruno Lage, and it just seems to be a common theme. So, but you've gone for 3-0, so you obviously don't trust Wolves to score.
No, I don't think Wolves will score. I think, and the reason being is because I think Goncalo Guedes has just come in.
Okay.
Obviously, Jimenez out. Neto is not the Neto everyone thought it was going to be. Mind you, it's still game week 3, right? This is game week 4.
True.
So things can happen. Podence is not playing. He's not playing that forward position
No.
as he did in the previous week. Like when we watched him against Spurs, he wasn't there, was he? Think about the Spurs game. I watched that one in Perth, so I was on about 1 p.m. in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Very good time. So I watched that match, and it just, mate, if it wasn't for the Harry Kane header, there was nothing happening in the match.
Yeah, true.
That's why I think Newcastle is just going to be electric against them, and Joe Linton's going to be the man.
All right, good stuff. All right, I think this one, I can see it being a low-scoring affair. I'm not feeling the 3-0. I'm going to go, I don't know, Wolves just never look like they're going to score a goal. It's hard to back them to score a goal. It's just, and this was the same last season. And this was, and the season before, and they had Nuno, and I think they got 36 goals. They were averaging, it was really poor stuff. It was some of their goal scoring has been terrible the last couple of years. But Jimenez is back. I'm not sure how much. Yeah, he's back. I'm not sure how much that means though, because this isn't the Jimenez, pre-injury. This is a different Jimenez. He's just there's a bit missing there, and obviously it's unfortunate. I'm going to go 1-0 Newcastle. I'm going to back the Trippier train to continue. I took him out on my team. Obviously, I had to do an early wild card because my team was in a bit of a mess. I took Trippier out. He's got a great run. His set pieces are brilliant. He's a BPS magnet because he gets so many touches on the ball. He's averaged 7 points game week 1, 7 points game week 2, 6 points game week 3. Could have been more, but he obviously got that naughty yellow card, which could have been a red. So I'm going to back Newcastle for the 1-0 win. Trippier is my pick from this game. Dan's pick is big Joel Linton in midfield. He's gone 3-0 Newcastle. So that wraps up Wolves and Newcastle. We're going to do our last fixture, and then we're just going to go into a couple of picks and then do our Q&A. So for those that are watching on the YouTube, I can see there's quite a few on the YouTube watching. If you can just give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and get your questions in, get your Q&A in, because we're getting close to the live Q&A. We want to answer some more questions because we've got a few on the list and we want to take some more. So ask your questions, please. Interact in the comments. Last game now, Nottingham Forest versus Spurs. I'll start with this one. Obviously, I'm a Spurs fan, so I'm going to try and not be too biased on this one. Going to see how I go. You know what? I think Conte's got us very organised, very well drilled. I think we'll be a very difficult team to beat this season. We're very difficult to beat last season under Conte for that last period of the season. I think I was reading the other day, we've gone maybe last 15 Premier League games or 13 Premier League games if you include the back end of last year without a defeat. So, and there's been a lot of goals in there. I still think this will be a tough game. Forest had one of the best defences under Steve Cooper in the Championship. It was very rare. I know it's the Championship, it's a different level, but it was very rare that they would concede too many goals at home. I think they'll play a lot on players behind the ball. We can sometimes sort of struggle with those types of teams. Look, we do have a few more tools now to break them down, but I think it could be a 1-2-0 type of game. I don't think it's going to be a hammering or anything like that. So I'll go 2-0 to Spurs, and I'm going to pick my player. There's a lot to choose from because obviously Perisic is just looked brilliant in that game last week on that left-hand
He
side,
looked very
and he got the assist. Yeah, brilliant. And I think, and Harry Kane is getting the goals now from this new Italian set piece coach. I've been banging on about it on Twitter for weeks now, and in messages and telling people. And I keep saying to people, Spurs have got this set piece coach, and he helped Italy in the Euros, and they scored a number of free kicks and set pieces to win games. He's done it. He helped save a few Italian teams from relegation, and all from his set pieces. It's known stuff. So I've said the likes of Eric Dyer is a stable option at the moment because he's 5 million, plays every game, and he's good in the air. Harry Kane's now getting those goals from the corners. He scored 2 goals in 2 games from corners, so it gives an extra dimension now. People probably think I'm going a bit crazy, but I am back in these set pieces. We scored 2 and 2, both corners. So I'm going to put Harry Kane as my man this week. He scored 2 and 2. I'm backing him to score again, and I will go 2-0 Spurs. So that's going to be my Spurs prediction against Forest. What are your thoughts on this one, Daniel?
No Spurs players in my classic, but in my
same
draft.
here, unfortunately. So
yeah, really, no Ronaldo.
Son's gone. When Son's gone, actually, well, I'll quickly discuss my transfer now. So my team this week, it was one of the first times I've done it a few times. I like to wait till press conferences to do transfers. But as soon as the Man City game ended against Newcastle, I did Son to De Bruyne. De Bruyne has since moved up to 12.2 million in value. So it ended up being a pretty good transfer. Like, I just think Richarlison, he's pushing and pushing and pushing. I don't think he'll start the game, but he's looking good when he's coming on. And there's some competition in that front three now. And I just think when Son isn't playing well, he normally has a sort of a 4 or 5 game spell where he just isn't on it. And then once he gets a goal, once he gets a couple of goals, he goes on a massive streak of, like we saw in that last 2 months last season, right? So I thought Son's got to go. And also I want to enjoy watching Spurs games without having fantasy league in my head. So, I took him out. Son will come back. There'll be a time where he becomes like last season, where he was banging all those goals in at the end when he won the Golden Boot, and he will come back into my team. But for now, I needed an extra City player for the Palace home game, and because I don't have Haaland, and the game against Forest in midweek, and I thought, get De Bruyne in. Doesn't mean I don't think Son will score against Forest. I think there's potential for him. This is the type of game he could easily come in and get 1 or 2 goals. But I'm backing De Bruyne to get some good points in the next 2 anyway, and I can always move to Son. So that's my transfer, and it was done at the end of kickoff. Risky business. Fingers crossed De Bruyne isn't injured. So that's my transfer. Dan, sorry, what was your prediction, and who's your player?
I actually think this is going to be the game where Son comes alive. That game you were talking about.
I'm going to hide under this. I'm going to hide under the desk now.
Now that I know that, I hope it's not. Because, excuse me, he was the one who takes the corner last week, and Harrison flicked it on for Harry Kane's header. And I noticed that. I saw that, and I was like, oh, Matt will be kicking, because it would have been a solid return.
And he hit the post.
Yes, he hit the post, and you captained him, I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
I did. So he was still threatening. Like, he was still, if he'd scored that goal, I'd probably be thinking differently. But I just really need that extra City player, and I like their next 2 fixtures, and I like City are scoring goals, right? Whereas we're just well drilled, not scoring huge amounts just yet. We did score 4 against Southampton, but I just had to do it. I just needed the City player. But I'm a little bit nervous.
I was going to say 3-0 Spurs, and Son is the player you want. That was going to be my pick. So, look, that's still my pick. Still my pick, because that's what I think is going to happen. But I hope I'm wrong. For that one, I hope I'm wrong. And I hope I'm right about the Salah 5-0.
Yeah, look, I'll take, if Spurs win, I'm all for it. Son scores, he scores, but it would be nice if De Bruyne can at least match him, and then I can look to bring Son back in as his form picks up. So Dan's gone 3-0. He's gone Son. I went 2-0, and I went Harry Kane as the man to have this week. That's our fixture roundup. We've picked our players. We've picked our scores. So we'll move on to a quick section now. We're just going to name 1 or 2 quick differentials off the top of our head that we think are good for this game week. I'm going to pull I already spoke about Raheem Sterling. I think he's really good for this Leicester fixture, which viewers might think is crazy, but he scored 2 against him last year. I said how much Chelsea dominated Spurs at home in game week 2. Leicester are a little bit all over the place, so I'm going to back Raheem Sterling as a differential for this week for Chelsea. So that's my differential for this game week. Dan, is there anyone else that you think is a good differential? Name your player.
Riyad Mahrez.
You think Mahrez will play this one?
Look, it's a big guess. It's a big guess. But that's why I tell everyone you need Bernardo Silva, but the differential could be Riyad Mahrez. Because I think if he plays and plays against Crystal Palace, if he doesn't play against Crystal Palace, he'll play against Nottingham Forest. That's I think that goes without saying. But yeah, he's a differential player. It's just a matter of time. It was like this last season as well. Everyone stayed away from him, and then there was a period of like 6 weeks where if you had Mahrez, you picked up I think 30 to 40 extra points. I had him and I captained him for some of the weeks, so I was very lucky.
Very so you're Mahrez. So what would it? We'll say you're Mahrez and Bernardo. We'll put Bernardo as well because he's a huge differential as well. I want to actually quickly add Foden as my other one. So I want to do Sterling and Foden. Obviously, I spoke about Foden earlier, but I think for his price at 7.7 million, there's a lot of potential in Foden for this Palace game. He got 9 points in his last home game. So that's our differentials. We'll quickly go on to the best captains. For me, in this order, I'm going to go Mo Salah, Haaland, and Harry Kane are my 3 best captains. And my curveball captain, I'm going to go Luis Diaz for Liverpool. If you've got him and you don't own Salah, hold Luis Diaz and potentially captain him because, like we said earlier, we think Liverpool are going to score goals in this game. That's my captains. Is there anyone else you think should be in that top 3 for captains, Dan? And give us a curveball captain as well.
Curveball captain, you could, looking at the fixtures, you could probably go Sterling. But my first would be, like, if we number them, Mohamed Salah, number 1.
Okay.
Second would be Luis Diaz. Second, Jesus, Arsenal. So Mohamed Salah, Jesus, Luis Diaz. And then if you want like a different kind of captain, you could go Sterling or even Harry Kane.
Harry Kane. Love that, Dan. Obviously, I always love a Harry Kane shout. So, good stuff and a good, interesting curveball there as well. And a lot of confidence in Salah, like myself. Afternoon, or England afternoon, evening for us here in Australia. FPL Mike Haplin. I hope you're good. I did read some stuff on Twitter that you had potentially been a little bit unwell. So, wish you all the best, mate. And yeah, we hope you're good. And take care of yourself from myself and Daniel as well. So I hope you're good, mate. So take care.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I hope you are feeling better. Whatever you've been battling or dealing with. Hope you're making a recovery.
Yeah, get well soon, mate. And Ducky's curveball captain is Trent Alexander-Arnold, which we obviously spoke about a bit earlier on.
Didn't he say earlier on that he didn't say that?
He's
he said though that you should keep him, which I agree. You should keep him. And he is definitely a possibility to captain. Definitely.
Oh, 100%, 100%. So we'll go on now to our quick transfers. I've spoke about mine. Mine was De Bruyne for Son. Dan, is there any transfers that you want to potentially make or you're looking at making? Also, get in the comments because Dan needs a replacement for Callum Wilson. So if you've got any ideas, get them in the comments now.
I've got 2 free transfers. I'm just saying he's a good option. He's a great option. I agree with you. Don't worry. Right. I've got 2 free transfers, 0.9. That's £900,000 in the bank there. My team, I really like it. I'm not going to change too much. I'm probably going to carry another transfer, but one that I need to swap out is Wilson. I've already got Jesus, and I've got 4.5 Taylor, which he doesn't play, doesn't do anything. He's literally just there to make up the numbers. A striker that I can bring in for either 8 or it'll have to be 8 or 7.5, basically. A striker. I'm thinking
Mitrovic. You've got Ivan Toney.
Yeah, I'm thinking
Mitrovic. Okay, and then maybe you could save the second transfer.
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. My second transfer was going to be Mahrez to Bernardo, which frees up more money, and then maybe getting a high level striker. But in between the other strikers, like
No Q.
you've got way out there, Quinton. That is an armchair shout if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
In between the other strikers, right? Because here you've got Jesus, that's an 8, which is scoring a lot of goals, doing the business. Then next up, I think is it's not it's Haaland, it's Vardy, it's but the other strikers are like they're way out of price. I wouldn't get Tony. I don't like Ivan Tony.
We've actually got a really good. Yeah, Dan won't get Tony. I've got Tony, and I know Tony. I think Tony's a great option, but
You've
Dan,
got him?
he does.
Wait, you've got him?
I've got Tony. Yeah, yeah. I
Did you
think it's a
get
good option.
him in your wild card?
He was on my wild card. Yeah, because he just.
Okay.
Yeah, I like him. But we've got a good. There's an interesting
And
one that's
Welbeck.
just come through in the comments, which
And
could be one for you. You're going to
this
like
week,
this one.
this week they've got Everton. I like Welbeck. Yeah, Welle. I like
That's a
Welle.
good. He's hitting 2 out of 3 games, and
Yeah.
he's looking sharp. He's looking
Welbeck,
sharp. That's an
Welbeck's playing
interesting shot.
right though. And you know what I don't like about that is that he's playing against the New Yorkshire Yankees. And
Yeah,
you know,
true.
I,
He is.
I want them to do the damage. You know, I don't want to have to cheer on Welbeck at the same time. You see, these are the problems that we have to live with as an FPL manager. You know, I'm
Well, there you
thinking
go, Dan. You've got a couple of options now. Go on. Who
I
are you going to pick?
didn't do any Brentford. I want to make a transfer right now. I didn't do any Brentford. Right, replacing Callum Wilson with no Brentford last season. I stayed away from it. I was like, doesn't matter if your name ends in an O. It didn't matter. You were not coming into my team because I saw no razzle. I only saw posts, and that's what everyone saw. No, I'm only joking. There was no Obama. There was no Tony. I wasn't bringing any of these guys in. But at 7.2, I think I'm going to bring in Ivan Tony.
He's
I
doing
think
it. So he said he wouldn't do it. He's now got Ivan Tony. We've all got another comment.
right,
FPL West Ham. Absolutely, Tony. I think Tony's a great shot. I think Mitrovic, Tony, take your pick. I think they're both good. Brentford have got good
look,
fixtures. They're both on pens.
I've got Mitro in my draft, so I'll put Tony into the classic. So I win either way.
Yeah. Tony's a good pick. I think this is a great fixture for him as well against Everton. I really hope he produces for you. Tony Pepperoni, as Q has just said in the comments, is in the side.
Who else has Tony? Has Quinton got Tony as well? Has Damo got Tony? Does Robert
I don't
Ducky
know
have
if
Welbeck or Tony? If Robert Ducky goes, you should get Welbeck, and then he has Tony. He's not telling us the truth, you see.
yeah, I'm not sure who Ducky's got, but I think Tony is a good pick. I think a lot of people are picking him on a wild card. What we'll do then, so Dan's decided to go with Tony, and it looks like he might save his second transfer.
I'm about to hit the next. So I've just got Tony in there. I've got 1.1 in the bank after I get Tony. I only have Haaland and Jesus. Oh, okay, but you have no midfield. So fair.
What we'll do is we'll go on to some Q&A now, Dan. So
Yeah, no worries.
I've got
All
a
right,
question from...
next. Confirm. It's done. Tony.
It's done. So he's brought Tony in, and he's got a
We
spare
move on.
transfer.
We
So
move
we
on.
move on. He's got an
Captain
attack of
Salah.
Jesus and Tony.
Captain Salah.
And Captain Salah.
Yeah.
Captain Salah. For Dan, my captain's going to be Mo Salah as well.
Mhm.
I've got a viewer's question. So this come in from my Instagram. It was from Shireen Mia Khan. And he asked me, Captain Kane or Salah? And he must know that it's a tough one for me because I love Harry Kane. And it's hard for me to say no to Harry Kane, but I'm going to say Salah between the two. I would be captaining Mo Salah. Again, it's your choice. But if it was my side, I'd still be captaining Mo Salah. All right, we're going to bring up some Q&A. So we've had some questions that come in from the start of the stream. So we will go with this first one from Bora TV. Thanks for tuning in. Do you think it's worth a -4 for James to Perisic? No, I don't think it is. I think keep Reece James.
Absolutely not.
Not worth it. No, I don't think it's worth it. Keep the faith in Reece James.
It's also game week 4. Please.
It's also game week 4. Yeah, James scored in game week 2 as well, and I just think taking a hit. Like I do think Perisic is a good pick.
Just quickly about hits, right? Taking a -4. Once you start, it's so hard to stop. What I found last season. So those who don't know me, I was doing really well. I was in the top 200K, and then I went to Qatar. I had some work there. when I was in Qatar, I just thought, yeah, I'm going to start the hits. I was living life. I was rolling. I was feeling like I was on cloud nine. I thought, yeah, I'll do this. Terrible week. And losing because I was like -8. Then I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just do another -8. I ended up finishing like just inside the million. All right. It's my first ever season of proper FPL. I ended up finishing just inside the million. If I'd have probably saved all my hits and just gone, whatever, left it, there's moments where I wouldn't have taken out Son and he would have got me the points. And then weeks where I did take hits and took out Son and brought someone else in, they scored the following week. So sometimes patience is a virtue. That's what I've learned from FPL.
Bit of life advice there. Don't take too many hits in Fantasy Premier League. But I think Dan is right there. So no, I would not take that -4. Question from PSB. If James and Chilwell play as wingbacks, who do you reckon playing the 3 centre-backs? I think Cucurella, Thiago Silva and Azpilicueta will get into that back three.
Do you think he's playing Cucurella as a centre back?
Left central. I think so. I think that was one of the reasons personally they signed him, is because they know they can play him when Chilwell isn't fit, and they can also play him on the left side of that central defence because he's very versatile.
I've been telling Quinton, actually, you've seen, because he's in our chat, but I've been telling Quinton that Cucurella, mate, he's got a sore back. He's carrying that. Honestly,
he's got a sore back from all that hair.
Yeah, 10 extra kilos on top.
So I've had a question from Matt Cowling. On wildcard, stuck on Kevin, I think it means Kevin De Bruyne, and at 4.5 mid, or Haaland and Andreas. Well, Andreas, I think he's gone up in price, and I'm guessing he won't be a 4.5 million mid.
Kevin De Bruyne and Cafu from Nottingham Forest.
Is Cafu a midfielder? He is a midfielder.
Yeah, he's midfield. Get Cafu. Just for the name. Just for the name.
Yeah, well, Dan thinks Cafu for the name. I think that's a fair shout. Yeah.
Who at 4.5 is going to play? Maybe De Silva?
Yeah, but I think if you spend that 0.6, you get Andreas in, you've got yourself a starting midfielder that's already, got 8 points on the board last week. There's potential there. Fulham are playing attacking football. You've got Haaland in there. You can easily switch him to Kane if you need to. If Haaland doesn't play, if he doesn't, Pep said he's going to start rotating him. He might get injuries. You never know. And also the high ownership of Haaland. So I think if you're looking at overall a full package, Haaland and Andreas are better than Kevin De Bruyne and some other random 4.5 million player that doesn't play. So that's what I would do there. But Dan does like the KDB and the 4.5 million shout. So good luck with your choice, Matt. I'm just going through. We're going to find there's been a couple more questions. Here's one for you, Dan. So you can answer this one while I pull out some more questions. Will D10 put Paqueta in his team when he signs for West Ham? Second coming of Pi at #Razzle. I guess if he signs for West Ham, Damo, but we will see. Will he be in your team?
I'd have to wait and see. See if Paqueta was signing for like a good team, he'd go straight in. Unfortunately,
good team.
Unfortunately, sorry for West Ham. No, look, not that West Ham's a bad side. They were one of my favourites last season. Actually, I had Ben Rama and Antonio for a long time, and I was going to bring Antonio into my team this season, but it just doesn't seem to be the same at West Ham. Paqueta, however, absolute razzler. If I can, I will get him in the draft straight away. And into my classic, it depends.
On price?
It depends on price. It depends on who is going to come out. Because by that time, I think my midfield will be pretty set for a few weeks.
Okay. There you go. There's Dan's thought on Paqueta. Quinton has asked, should I move Mount to Sancho?
Yep.
I know Dan is probably in agreement of yes, do it. I know how much you love Mason Mount Q. And honestly, I'm not a huge fan of Mason Mount in FPL. I know he gets his massive scores. But I think you've got this far. Give him one more week because this Leicester team are leaking goals. These are the types of games Mason Mount does like. I'd give him one more week. And then if he's no good, then you can probably move on to someone else in game week 5. Maybe a Havertz. So I wouldn't, but Dan would. Bora TV, no problem. Thanks for tuning in. Great to have you on the stream and really good question. We'll move down, just see if there's any more questions. Cheers for the kind words. Anytime, Mike. Get well soon.
Welcome, Mike.
Red flagged. He's just said he was red flagged with 2 dodgy knees. His Razzler days are over. So
Look, hey,
sorry to hear, my friend.
that day comes for us all. That day comes for us all.
It does.
Touch wood.
That's touch wood, and get well soon, Mike. Obviously not good to hear. If there's any more questions or anyone viewing now, quickly get your questions in now. If there's anything just before, otherwise we'll wrap up the stream. Anything else? Any final words, Dan? Doesn't look like. Oh, here we go. One more.
Yeah,
looks like a general football one. Do you think United will be better with Casemiro? Of course, because
100%.
he'll come in for someone like McTominay. He's a better player. I think he's someone that's coming in. He's not sort of there as a, he's not a 20-year-old, 22-year-old that's going to be there for, a long time. He's coming in to fix midfield quickly, stabilize that midfield, stabilize that team, and he's a world-class player. And this is, the crazy stuff, this is for a whole different topic. And it's more of a general football topic. Everyone talks about the United owners and, they're only spending the revenues of the club. And, there's a lot of them, but, there's still world-class players coming into the side. Varane, big signing. Casemiro, big signing. Martinez, big signing. There's good footballers here, and they should be making United a better side. And all there needs to be is a system and a better coach. Obviously, they've got the coach now, sorry, but I mean, in previous times, a coach with a system and a way of playing and a philosophy. And of course, Casemiro should come in and make them better. So, I think he will make them a better side. Dan, you think so as well?
100%. I think Casemiro is the exact type of player McTominay is, but with quality on the ball. So you've got Casemiro who'll probably sit, and then in front of him you've got Eriksen and Fernandes, which will just be ridiculous in my opinion. Could be wrong. It could all go south, but I think that 3 in the middle is just what's going to really shore up the defensive side of that team, or the engine of that team.
They need it. They need it.
Exactly. And then from there, they already had all the attacking options anyway. So
we did have another question from Q. He's asking us, how many signings does it take to make West Ham good? I would bring it up and answer it, but I don't want to offend any West Ham fans that aren't Damo that might be watching the stream, because we don't know what the answer to that one is. But good question regardless, Q. FPL Mike Couplins asked, thoughts on a Brighton defender instead of Ake if he's injured? I think it's a great pick. Lewis Dunk or Veltman. Veltman actually ended up with 8 points last week. He gets on the ball a lot. He's good on the ball. Dunk, I prefer Dunk because of his threat from set pieces. Well, they're both big defenders, but Dunk just seems to have a bit of a goal scoring prowess about him. So I actually think it's a good shout. Good fixtures. We've seen them keep the games quite low scoring so far this season. So I like it. Lewis Dunk or Veltman for me.
Who was the other wing back? Was it
Lamptey?
I was going to say Lamptey. Was it Lamptey?
Yeah, I don't think he's been playing.
No, because he was last season. He was good, wasn't he?
Brilliant. He's a brilliant player. I think he's had a lot of injury problems, and he sort of struggled getting back into the side. But I think a Brighton defender is a good shout. Do you think so as well, Dan? Or?
A Brighton defender?
Yeah, I think it's a good shout.
He might be, but if he's not been playing, it's not a great shout, is it?
Oh no, I mean, sorry, not so much Lamptey, but like Veltman or
to bring one of them in. Dunk, yeah. Lewis Dunk is maybe even if you were depends on who you're. Dunk's all good fixtures, but if you don't want to go Dunk, go Sanchez, and then if you've got an expensive keeper and use the money for another centre back or a Perisic, for example.
Or you could go Nico Williams if you don't have him. Save a little bit more money and put it somewhere else. I will say though with Lewis Dunk, not last season, but because I think he had a few injuries. But the season before, I think he got 6 or 7 Premier League goals, which is big numbers for a defender. So that's huge. Damo has just fought back to Quinton, and he's just come to the comments and said, as much as it takes for Man United to be relevant post Fergie. So if you don't follow FPL West Ham, give him a follow on Twitter, FPL West Ham. And Quinton done FPL Amateur Oz. They're both on a really good podcast together. Amateur of Oz provides these fixtures, and as you can see, provides the fixtures for me every week. And he does come on as a guest. So
Quinn's been doing the fixtures for the Premier League, as it turns out. It's just
Yeah.
apparently he's marking the lines as well. Have a look behind the lines on a
He's
Sunday.
doing everything that.
Look, I'll just clean up my comment as well because I can see there's already hostilities between Quinton and Damo, and like you said, we don't want West Ham fans getting upset. So I shouldn't say a good team, but I'll say an informed team because I think West Ham in form are dangerous. But right now,
Very dangerous.
they haven't
Very
seen-
dangerous. So just before we wrap up, one last one from Mike. Yep, that's his other option. Swap Ramsdale to Sanchez, now Zinchenko's Lieber. I wouldn't do that, Mike. I think you've got to keep you've got to keep Ramsdale.
Why?
I just think he's a good goalkeeper to have for FPL. Once you've got him at 5 mil, he gets save points. Arsenal will keep clean sheets in this run of games. I don't think he's a problem at all. I think you can get the 4.5 million Brighton option in there and keep Ramsdale.
There's shots I've seen going out for a throw, and Ramsdale jumps at it and he do that, and they'll give him a save.
Yeah, and he gets this. Oh, that's another thing as well. Yeah, the camera saves Mike, and the hat. He does handstands and cartwheels during the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think keep it. And the thing is as well, say you go Ake to Zinchenko. I've got Zinchenko, for example, on my side. And the problem I found with Zinchenko last week was obviously he's a good player and he looks like a great fullback, but there is going to be competition for him with Kieran Tierney at some point. Plus, he keeps slotting into midfield. And he's not really having that attacking threat that I thought he was going to have. I do think he's a BPS magnet because he's so good on the ball, but yeah, I think just keep Ramsdale and go with Sanchez. A couple more comments from Damo. All good, Dan. All love here. We'll turn it around if our 2 European games or anything to go by as well. Mike Hubman says BPS not happen for him with Ramsdale. I think it will happen for him as time goes on, as teams attack Arsenal a little bit more as well. I think with the games you've played, Palace and Bournemouth, neither of them really have that. Well, Palace do have the attacking threat, but they didn't really have it so much in the first game. I think we'll start to see those save points again at some stage. You have said Zinchenko or Saliba gets him this season, which is fair. And you are an Arsenal fan, so I won't argue too much with your opinion on that one. But that wraps up the podcast for today. Thanks everyone that tuned in. Some really good interactions in the comments. If you can just give the video a like, give us a subscribe if you don't already. It's much appreciated. I'm on Twitter at FPL Matt Day, TikTok at FPL Matt Day, Instagram at FPL Matt Day. So check them all out. Give me a follow. Daniel, thanks for coming on. You've been a brilliant guest. Some really good insights, not just from an FPL perspective, but some really good football knowledge and football, football comments as well. To follow Dan at D10 Football on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. Some really good stuff on there. Lots of ball mastery, lots of coaching, lots of skills. Yeah, it's absolutely brilliant. So go check him out. Ricky, thanks for coming on. Obviously, you just jumped on. Sorry it's so late. It's okay. You can just rewatch it once the stream's over. There's some really good stuff on here, so definitely give it a watch. Bora TV. No worries. Thanks for tuning in. I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next one. I'll be back for a stream on Tuesday, which will be a Game Week 4 review, a Game Week 5 preview, because there's a midweek game week. So come in on Tuesday, come onto the socials, put your notifications on here, and never miss a video. But we'll leave it at that. Any final words, Dan, before we tune out and sign off?
No, all good, mate. I think we got it all, man. An hour and a half. We did well.
It's been a big pod. Look, we only planned for 45 minutes to an hour, but we had so much interaction, right? So much interaction, so many good questions, some really good stuff from everyone. So it's gone overboard a little bit, but it's been good fun.
We had to put in the full 90. Yeah, total 90.
We did. We had to put the full 90. We've come out at the other end. It's been good. Good luck, everyone, for Game Week 4. As I mentioned, we'll be back for Tuesday for Game Week 5. Big FPL week. We've got 3 game weeks coming up in the next 10 days. It's going to be huge. So if your team's not tracking too well now, you're going to get 3 back-to-back game weeks. So you can turn it around pretty quickly. So good luck, everyone. Thanks for coming on. We will see you in the next one.